All right, let's get right into it. We've all been swamped with AI headlines, right? But the real story, the one that actually matters, is what's happening just beneath the surface. The whole industry is kind of growing up. It's moving past that initial chaotic gold rush phase and into something more serious, a real proving ground. And there are these four huge forces that are basically rewriting the rules for everyone. So first up, let's just talk about the sheer scale of this thing. The amount of money pouring into AI, it's just staggering. We're talking about projected annual global spending for infrastructure, for services, the whole shebang, getting ready to blow past $1.5 trillion. I mean, that's not just a wave of cash. That's a tsunami of capital. That's literally reshaping the global economy as we speak. And if you want to know where the smart money is going, just look at this. In 2024 alone, almost a third of all venture capital, that's the money that funds the next big thing, went straight into AI. It's the undisputed king of startup investment right now. And you gotta understand, this isn't just some passing trend. No, this is a deep, fundamental shift in where investors believe the entire future is headed. Okay, but here's the catch, and it's a big one. All that explosive growth, all that money, it's starting to slam into some serious real-world walls. And I'm not talking about little speed bumps. These are fundamental structural problems in the hardware we use, in whether we can actually trust the AI, and in the laws that govern it. The industry has to figure this stuff out if it's ever going to truly grow up. So let's break that down. Our first big challenge, our first pillar, is all about hardware. It starts with the physical brain of AI itself, the microchip, because let's be real, without the silicon, none of that cool software magic is even possible. And this is where you see the core problem, and it's a huge geopolitical headache. You've got US companies, right? Giants like NVIDIA and AMD designing the absolute best AI chips in the world. But here's the thing, they don't make them. That incredibly important job, it falls to one company, Taiwan's TSMC. And get this, they manufacture over 90% of the world's most advanced chips. Think about that. One single, very geopolitically sensitive place holds the keys to the entire kingdom. So how do you solve a problem like that? Well, the response is nothing short of historic. To de-risk that supply chain, TSMC is making an unbelievable investment, $165 billion. To put that in perspective, that is the largest foreign direct investment in a brand new project in American history. And they're using it to build a whole campus of cutting-edge chip factories right in Phoenix, Arizona. And look, this isn't just about building a few factories. This is about bringing the most advanced chip technology in the world back onto US soil. The first plant is already getting up and running. The second one, planned for 2028, is going to make even more powerful chips. But the real prize is the third one, coming by the end of the decade. That's where they'll be making the next generation stuff, the N2 and A16 chips. That is the hardware that will power the AI of tomorrow. Okay, so let's say we solve the hardware problem. You have all the chips you need, but that's only half the battle, right? Because the software itself has to be something businesses can actually rely on. Which brings us to our second big pillar. We've got to solve the trust deficit. So what is this trust deficit? Well, at its core, it's a problem that developers call AI hallucination. It's basically when the AI just makes stuff up. It sounds super confident, totally plausible, but what it's saying is just flat out wrong. And you can imagine, if you're a business in finance or medicine or law, anywhere where the stakes are high, that's an absolute deal breaker. The good news is we're seeing some huge breakthroughs on this front. Take Google's Gemini 2.5, for example. It's tackling this problem head-on. Not only have they slashed error rates by up to 40%, but they've massively expanded the AI's short-term memory, what they call the context window, to 1 million tokens. That is more than 7 times bigger than its closest rivals. What does that mean in the real world? It means the AI can read an entire, massive annual report and not forget what was on page 1. That makes it way, way more reliable and actually useful for serious work. So, as AI gets more reliable, the money starts to flow in a different way. It gets smarter, more strategic, and that brings us to our third pillar, the new rules of capital. Just look at this example. There's a coding platform called Cursor. Its parent company, Anisphere, watched its valuation just explode from under $10 billion to almost $30 billion. And that was in just 6 months. How'd they do it? They pulled in a massive $2.3 billion funding round from all the big names, top VCs, plus heavy hitters like NVIDIA and Google. But it's what they're doing with that money that's the real game changer. See, instead of just paying another company to use their AI, they're using all that cash to build their own specialized AI model, which they're calling Composer. This is huge. It creates what investors call a moat around their business. They control their own destiny. They're not dependent on anyone else, and it makes it super hard for any competitor to copy what they're doing.
Okay, so the tech is getting better, the money is getting smarter, and all of this is leading to one unavoidable reality. The Wild West is over. Now you have to deal with a messy, tangled web of new laws. And that's our fourth and final pillar, governance.
A proposal to pause state AI laws at the federal level failed. And the result? Absolute chaos. The US is now this crazy patchwork of different rules. You've got Colorado with a really strict risk-based system for important stuff like hiring. Then California's all about transparency. Texas is focused on stopping people from using AI for bad stuff. And Utah's just like, disclose it if someone asks. Now, imagine you're a company trying to operate in all 50 states. It's a total compliance collision. So how do you even begin to deal with that mess? Well, the smartest companies are realizing it's impossible to follow every single state's unique rules. So the emerging best practice is this. You just adopt the strictest standard out there, which right now is Colorado's framework, and you make that your baseline for the whole country. It's like building to the toughest earthquake code. If you can handle that, you're pretty much covered everywhere else. All right, so we've got hardware, trust, capital, and governance. What does it all mean when you put these four pieces together? It means the whole definition of what it takes to be a leader in AI is changing, like right now as we watch. It's not just about building the biggest, baddest AI model anymore. That was the old game. The new game, the new rule, is all about strategic control. And what do I mean by strategic control? It means you've mastered these four pillars we've been talking about. You've secured your hardware supply chain. You're delivering software that people can actually trust. You're using your capital to build a business that's hard to attack. And you know how to navigate that crazy maze of regulations. Winning in AI today means having control over the entire stack, from the tiny silicon chip all the way up to the boring but essential compliance report. So this whole shift from that wild gold rush to a much more mature, structured industry leaves us with a really big question. As AI finally enters its real proving ground, who's gonna win? Is it still gonna be the folks with the most creative, out-of-the-box ideas? Or will the future leaders be the ones who can master these tough new realities of control?